So I just wanted to welcome you all this evening. It's kind of a little later than what I wanted to come on, but I said I wanted to go ahead and do this because, well, first of all, I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Miss Sasha. Some of you know me as Anissa, and I am the founder and executive director of ABC Read. ABC Read is a nonprofit 501c3 organization, and our mission is to develop and nurture a culture of literacy in Black and underserved communities. And we do this by making sure that we give away books that represents primarily Black people, culture, experiences, history. We want our community to see themselves represented in these books, because research has definitely shown in order for us to get folks into reading more, they want to see themselves reflected in the books. Case in point, something that happened when I was at the grocery store, and I said I wanted to start carrying books with me. So when I am in places like a grocery store or in different places where I'm taking care of business or wherever, and I see, folks, and I'm kind of, checking out, and I'm saying like, hey, I wonder they may want some books. And so I ran into this lady. She was in line with her son. Her son looked like he was about 8 or 9, and sure enough, he was. So I asked her. I said, excuse me. I said, how old is your son? No, I said, what grade is he in? And so, she started to. She turned to him, and she was like, you could tell her, And so he was like, I'm 9, and then he was like, I'm in 4th grade. I said, okay, bam. So I gave him this book, JD and the Great Barber Battle, written by Jay Dillard. And so he was just like, oh man. And the first thing that she said, y'all, when she saw that book, she was like, Black characters. And I was like, I didn't say anything about, I said, here's a book. I didn't say, yeah, I want to give books that represent, I didn't say nothing. I just gave her the book. She immediately, when she saw the cover of the book, she was like, yes. She was like, Black characters. And I was like, you see that? And see, when you know your people and you understand the mindset, you understand what it is that we are in need of, it just, it's like it sells itself. It's a thing where people are like, man, this is what we need. And so when people understand that, when you're giving it to them, they're like, thank you. You know me, you connect with me. You know exactly what I've been looking for. And then she started telling me about how she was just reorganizing her son's library at home and all of that. So I'm like, ooh, wait. And so then she was like, yeah, I have 2 other sons. She gave me their ages. I had another book in my purse. All right, so I gave her the Carter Reads the Newspaper book about Dr. Carter G. Woodson. All right, written by, I think her name was Deborah Hopkinson, if I'm not mistaken, but it definitely was illustrated by Brother Don Tate. And so I was just like, bam, she like, oh my God, face lit up, gave her son, because she was bagging her groceries. I gave her son the brochure, and bam, it was just like instantly, okay? So I'm just, letting you all know it's things like that, number one, that really just resonates with me. It really, makes me feel really good, and it makes me understand our mission, and it makes me understand again and underscores why ABC Read was even started, our why. All right, so always remember that. I know you all have heard this a lot. Anytime you start to wonder what it is and, that you're doing, and it seems like it's not working, whatever it is that you've started and how you're trying to help the people and affect the people, always go back to your why you started it. And then that is going to fulfill you, and that's going to help to keep you pushing and keep going. And of course, we have dope reading events as well in the city of Cleveland. We've been doing this since 2014. And we also make sure that we are having healthy food options as well. That's an integral part of ABC Read's mission, all right? Because we know it's a holistic approach when it comes to getting our people back into reading, connecting back to our history, which is being literate, all right? Ain't no more that you want to hide something from a Black person, put it in a book. Black people don't read. The illiteracy rate in the Black community is sky high. and I'm definitely not the one to starting the story in the middle. I always say, well, we need to go back to why that is. Again, always remember that why, all right? And so that's one of the things I wanted to tell you all that I do. I'm also a reading tutor. Okay, ABC Learn Tutoring is the name of my reading tutoring business. Pre-K through fourth grade is my specialty, my sweet spot. And also, I'm a certified dyslexia tutor as well, level 1. Okay, so with that being said, those are two of the things that I do. And as you all can see behind me, of course, I got ABC Read. We got that popping right there on the left. And then on the right, I got the Reading is Freedom merch. Okay, and got that popping because that is my for-profit. Okay, that's the clothing line. That's the name brand that I started. Reading is Freedom. Okay, and the name of my store is readingisfreedom.store. And I believe I put that I'm gonna put it again in the comment section, the name of the store. You can click that link. I have a special one-day sale only for tomorrow, and actually it's starting at midnight. So it goes from midnight tonight until tomorrow, midnight, okay? And that is because my son, Musa, he is turning 17, all right? So I said I'm gonna do a special where it's gonna be 17% off of one item. And since tomorrow's the 27th, it'll be 27% off on $100 or more. If you go to the store starting at midnight, so you got all day. I know some of you are, at that time, you're like, girl, please, I'm be in a bed. I'm going to turn some midnight. Okay, that's fine. It'll be up in the morning, okay? But you have until midnight tomorrow to make your purchases, all right? This is a perfect time for you all to grab that merch, grab that shirt, t-shirts, got caps, we got bags, we have mugs right here, like this one, bam, okay. Got the Reading is Freedom mug, all right. Folks have been digging these mugs, okay. So I got mine because this is actually what I'm calling a sip and read, all right. You got those paint and sips or read and sip, however you want to call it, read and sip and read, whatever, all right. I change it up sometimes. Sometimes I say sip and read or read and sip. And so what I got in my cup is some H2O. All right, I got some water in my cup, all right? So I wanted you all to go and grab your mug, or you can just simply go to the readingisfreedom.store, make sure that you order you some mugs. So the next time when I do have a read and sip and read, then you all can be like, holla, I got mine too. And you put whatever you drinking is what you drinking. That's between you and God, all right? I'm telling you what I'm drinking. I got some water in mine, okay? And so I need to take a sip right now. Yes. All right, so here we go. So now I was going to read to you all. I haven't done a Facebook read aloud in a while. This was my thing, me and my kids thing. Y'all remember, those of you who was rocking with me, y'all know how we was doing it. You know what I'm saying? Kicking it, chilling on these internet streets, okay? Getting these readings in, all right? And as you all see, this is the book that I was going to read to you all today, all right? Or this evening, it could be morning time, whatever time of day it is. And of course, this is a great time to have your kids. I was thinking too that since this is winter break for all of our children for the most part, that I'm like, they probably still up. So if they up, have them sit down and listen to this story and then put their little butts to bed. All right, let Miss Sasha read to the babies before they go to bed. So I'm about to read this book here, Unspeakable, the Tulsa Race Massacre, all right? Written by Carole Boston Weatherford, illustrated by Floyd Cooper, the late Floyd Cooper, y'all. Oh man, it just hurts my heart that he had passed. So phenomenal brother, phenomenal artist. And I was just connected to him on Facebook, so I did not know him personally, but You know, you could just, when you're connected with people, even though you may not have met them personally, you could just feel the warmth, you could feel the love, and just the, just that connection. You know what I'm saying? You can have that with some people, right? And that's what I got, from the brother Floyd Cooper. So with that being said, I wanted to go ahead and start reading this phenomenal book. All right, those of you know a lot about Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street. And for those of you who don't know, well, this is your first time. Well, come on, tune in. Let's go. Once upon a time near Tulsa, Oklahoma, prospectors struck it rich in the oil fields. The wealth created jobs, raised buildings, and attracted newcomers from far and wide, seeking fortune and a fresh start. Once upon a time in Tulsa, there was a community called Greenwood. Its residents descended from Black Indians, from formerly enslaved people, and from exodusters who moved west in the late 1800s, fleeing the violence and racism of the segregated South. Once upon a time in Greenwood, there were some 10,000 people living in a 35 square block area. Train tracks divided the Black and white communities. Segregation laws called for separate neighborhoods, schools, phone booths, and railroad and streetcar coaches. Unfair tests made it hard for Blacks to register to vote, and laws barred marriages across racial lines. So many Black businesses cropped up along a 1-mile stretch of Greenwood Avenue that educator and business leader Booker T. Washington called the area the Negro Wall Street of America. The name later became Black Wall Street, and the community kept thriving. Once upon a time on Black Wall Street, there were dozens of restaurants and grocery stores. There were furriers, a pool hall, a bus system, and an auto shop. Nearly 200 businesses in all. There were also several libraries, a hospital, a post office, and a separate school system, y'all, where some say Black children got a better education than whites. There were 2 Black-owned newspapers, the Tulsa Star and Oklahoma Sun, and over 20 churches, and 15 Black doctors, including Dr. A.C. Jackson, the most able Black surgeon in the nation. On Detroit Avenue stood grand homes of doctors, lawyers, and prominent businessmen. Once upon a time in Greenwood, there were barbershops and beauty salons. Miss Maybell's Little Rose Beauty Salon boomed on Thursdays when maids who worked for white families got coiffed on the day off and strutted in style up and down Greenwood Avenue. The soda fountain at Williams Confectionery was the backdrop for scores of marriage proposals. And there was the luxurious Stratford Hotel, then the largest Black-owned hotel in the nation. Black guests were welcome there, even as they were barred from Tulsa's white hotels. Once upon a time in Greenwood, there were 2 movie theaters, including the 800-seat Black-owned Dreamland. There were even 6 privately owned airplanes. But in 1921, not everyone in Tulsa was pleased with these signs of Black wealth, undeniable proof that African Americans could achieve just as much, if not more, than whites. All it took was one elevator ride, one 17-year-old white elevator operator accusing a 19-year-old Black shoe shineman of assault, for simmering hatred to boil over. With the accused man in jail, the white-owned Tulsa Tribune newspaper ran a headline prompting readers to nab him. Fearing the man would be lynched, killed by a mob before his trial, 30 armed Black men rushed downtown to his rescue. At the jail, they faced off with 2,000 armed whites. On May 31st, 1921, one day after Memorial Day, a holiday honoring fallen soldiers, skirmishes between the 2 groups left 2 Black men and 10 white men dead. But the worst was yet to come. Unable to get to the jailed suspect, the white mob sparked rumors that the Black community planned to attack. Unchecked and, in some cases, deputized by the police, the white mob stormed into Greenwood, looting and burning homes and businesses that Blacks had saved and sacrificed to build. Threatening to shoot, the mob blocked firefighters from putting out the blazes. African American World War I veterans took up arms to defend their families and property, but they were outnumbered and outgunned. Families fled with only what they could carry. Once upon a time in Greenwood, up to 300 Black people, including Dr. Jackson, were killed. Hundreds more were injured. More than 8,000 people were left homeless, and hundreds of businesses and other establishments were reduced to ash. The police did nothing to protect the Black community. When the National Guard arrived the next day, all that was left to do was put out fires and move thousands of Black residents into camps outside of Tulsa. As their community lay in ruins, Black residents had to carry passes to enter the city. In the days and weeks that followed, some Black Tulsans left and never returned. Others stayed and rebuilt the Greenwood community, only to witness its decline in the 1960s. For decades, survivors did not speak of the terror. 75 years passed before lawmakers launched an investigation to uncover the painful truth about the worst racial attack in United States history. Police and city officials had plotted with the white mob to destroy the nation's wealthiest Black community. Today, Tulsa's Reconciliation Park remembers victims of the 1921 massacre and recalls the role of African Americans in Oklahoma history. But the park is not just a bronze monument to the past. It is a place to realize the responsibility we all have to reject hatred and violence and to instead choose hope. Right, right. There you have it. There you have it. And this part here is awesome. I like that. So here's some pictures in the back. You see right there where they're showing, unfortunately, the damage. Because as we know, or those of you, I'm not for sure if you know, but bombs were dropped. People talked about how, yes, bombs were dropped on the city, Black Wall Street. Okay. That's something that folks try to downplay, or they try to act like, well, there wasn't really evidence of that. No, I believe my people. When they say it was bombs dropped, it was. Whatever they say happened, the people that were there, because yes, there's footage. You can go to YouTube and you can find the people, some of the people who were still alive, who talked about what happened. And just like in the book, it talks about how a lot of our people did not want to speak about it. Can you imagine? Of course, we're always constantly dealing with trauma, but when you see that you have been able to build something with your own hands and everybody working together and this is right after slavery, right? This is 1920. So that wasn't, slavery was supposedly over in 1865, So with that being said, it's like, that was, you talk about a hell of an accomplishment and achievement. And of course, Black Wall Street wasn't the only place where you had Black people who were thriving. That was just a well-known one. And of course, they had a plethora of businesses and, facilities, and then the school system. They had everything you needed. They didn't need to leave the community. And you had white folks actually who were coming there too, to having to take care of their business there. That's how bumping Black Wall Street was. So of course, we understand that history of that false notion of white supremacy is that its root is envy and jealousy. That's the whole point of it. It's envy and jealousy. So here it is, you got Black people like, okay, yeah, y'all been doing all this crazy ish to us. We over here, we good, we straight, just leave us the hell alone. Let us do us. You go do you. But no, when that jealousy and that envy, once again, is still settled in your heart, because that's in your heart and you don't try to remove that from your heart, you're going to do anything to sabotage the other people or that person, whoever you feel like is in the way of you advancing. And that's what our people experience in Tulsa and other places, and we're still experiencing that today. And so this is why these types of books, ABC Read, we make sure that we get these kinds of books and others for the whole community, okay? Even though we know this is more like geared towards children, it also obviously is giving that history to where you have adults who may not have known certain things that can read this book and get information. And then you can also get other books for adults that goes more in depth talking about the history of Black Wall Street as well. So with all of that being said, I hope that you all enjoyed that read and sip. Let me give you another sip. My mouth a little dry. Yes, reading is freedom, y'all. Get your mugs. Please get your mugs. Yes, I am going to post the link so you all can click on there starting at midnight. Again, readingisfreedom.store. Please make sure you grab yourself a mug, cap, shirt, bag. And we have shirts that have Malcolm X quote on there, Frederick Douglass, Toni Morrison as well, in many different colors and sizes. So we got you. We got you. Readingisfreedom.store. Again, that is my store. That is the brand that I came up with, and that is my for-profit. All right, ABC Read is the nonprofit 501c3 organization. All right, and we are on that mission to give out those 5,000 books by December 31st. It's coming up Saturday, and inshallah, God willing, we are going to achieve our goal. And we thank you all for those of you who have donated. We appreciate you tremendously. Oh my goodness, we appreciate you. The books, the money, the materials, resources, the shares, those of you who keep sharing the page, sharing the posts and all of that, telling people about what we're doing. We love it and appreciate all of it. And that's how we should be doing. You see folks doing stuff that is great, just share it. Even if you can't give no money at that time. Like, you know what, I'm gonna press share. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put a comment. I'm gonna say, you keep going, sister. You keep going, brother. I love what you're doing. I love it. And that right there, that it builds that unity spirit. It kills any jealousy, envy in your heart. Trust and believe. The moment the devil try to creep in there and try to get you to, think of any kind of way that, oh man, oh, who she thinks she is? Oh man, he think he, no. Immediately kill that noise and be like, man, I'm proud of what you're doing. Click share, high five, give a great comment. You able to drop a couple dollars. Like I said, we got the Cash App. You can $5, $1, don't matter. We need it all. So we appreciate you once again. My name is Miss Sasha, and I thank you all for listening. This story is going to be on my YouTube channel, Reading is Freedom, and on the ABC Read YouTube channel, which is our nonprofit, which is for the nonprofit rather, all right? So I thank you also. Last thing, Will Reading Talk. Make sure that you go to your Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts, Spotify, and type in Real Reading Talk. All right. I have my latest episode up there where I interviewed Brother DeMont Pope, his book that he has written, Purpose Over Pointless Excuses. He took his last name, turned it into that acronym. All right. And so dope, brother, dope conversation. Make sure that you check it out. And I'm also getting my other one uploaded as well. My son and I, we already did the episode. We just got to get it uploaded. And that is talking about the book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F. All right, so that was a great conversation as well. Make sure you're going to check that out and other episodes that I've had as well. So I thank you all for listening. Thank you all for joining me, and make sure that you get your 30 minutes of reading in. All right.